Hey everyone, it's UnsungNPC back here with another Prestige class video for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Eldritch Knight class. This is a class that is in the game and not modded, so if you're interested in this class, stick around. Let's see what it's about. So, the Eldritch Knight. All you need to become an Eldritch Knight is the ability to cast level 3 arcane spells and martial weapon proficiency. Probably the easiest class to obtain through multi-classing. Honestly, there are some classes, especially with the mod Call of the Wild, where you could get both of these in one if you wanted. But I think it is better to multi-class because I think combining a martial character with a pure caster is going to get you more effective spell progression in the end. So let's see what the Eldritch Knight has to offer. Okay, first you get diverse training. So you add your class level to any levels of fighter that you might have for the purposes of meeting the prereqs for feats. If you have no fighter levels, you use your Eldritch Knight levels as levels of fighter. You also add your level to any levels in an arcane spellcasting class for the purpose of meeting the prerequisites for feats. So you get to add your levels in the Eldritch Knight to both spellcasting and fighter levels so that you can meet the requirements for certain feats that you can only obtain at a higher level. Next, you get a bonus feat. Okay, you'll get a bonus feat at first level, and then you'll also get a bonus feat at 5th and 9th, and these are combat bonus feats, which means they have to be related to combat. Okay, no skills, no spells, none of that, combat only. Okay, at level 2, you will start your spell casting progression again, so you will be able to get that spellcasting progression continued throughout your Eldritch Knight levels as if you were getting levels in them through your spellcasting class. And then, And then the last thing you get is spell critical. So whenever an Eldritch Knight successfully confirms a critical hit, the next spell you cast within 2 rounds gets to be cast as a swift action, as if quickened. Okay? That's a really cool ability, especially since you are still kind of a fighter with the Eldritch Knight, so like gaining critical hits is something that you do want to focus on, as with all damage dealing classes. So this is a situation where I think Eldritch Knight works a lot better for a damage dealer than I think it works for a tank, because spell critical is going to be more effective if you're someone who is focusing on dealing damage rather than taking hits. And being able to cast those spells as a swift action is great, because then you can spell and then strike, which is really, really cool. Now, this is the easiest prestige class to get into. It's also kind of the most mundane, right? Because you're just getting bonus combat feats and spell casting progression, and just getting spell casting and fighter levels at once. So really, you'd think that there are lots of options to become an Eldritch Knight, and there are, but because of the way that the diverse training works, and because of the way the spellcasting progression works, it's really going to be more effective if you are a fighter and then a pure spellcaster. So either sorcerer or wizard, or maybe even witch if you have Call of the Wild mod. Okay, those are going to be the best bets for this because you get those fighter levels. You could also choose any other class that also gains fighter levels as you progress, but there aren't a lot of those, like one of which I think there are some mages things that gain fighter levels and war priest, but both of those already have their own spell casting, so taking Eldritch Knight would just be redundant because it's not worth a few extra bonus feats or spell critical, in my personal opinion. So I think this is best for someone who wants to be a fighter slash caster, I really think that's where you're going to hit your stride with this class. However, there's lots of combinations. You could even just be a caster and then give yourself martial weapon proficiency, but then you're just missing out on getting caster powers, so I don't really see the big benefit in that. You could also just scratch Eldritch Knight altogether and be a magus instead, which is what I would recommend, because I don't know how powerful Eldritch Knight really is. But I think that if you are focusing on damage dealing with swords and getting critical hits and then want some little bit of spell bonus on top of it, then Eldritch Knight can be a fun, easy thing to achieve and requires very little micromanaging as a prestige class, which I think is pretty neat. So, I think it's worthwhile in that sense, but I think that's a very specific, very niche type of thing. I don't know that I would do it for any other way or any other reason. But yeah, so you pick a fighter where you can get your weapon skills and your armor skills and things like that, and then you pick, you know, witch or wizard or sorcerer, depending on what you want to do. Sorcerer is kind of cool, but you'd miss out on powers doing that. Wizard, you wouldn't miss out on much. And witch would be also cool because you get tons of hexes before you would get to Eldritch Knight anyway, so it's good. I mean, you only have to take one level in fighter. It depends on how you want to play it, really. So there's lots of different, there's a few different things you can do with that. So if that's interesting to you, I definitely recommend taking a look on your own and seeing if you can come up with something that makes the Eldritch Knight a little bit more fun, a little bit more of a class instead of just what it is, because right now it seems like it's just a way to make fighters become spellcasters and vice versa. So I don't know how great of a class it really is, especially considered to the other prestige classes available. So check that out, figure out what you like, see if any of that works for you. Yeah, that's the Eldritch Knight. Pretty simple, really simple class, if not the most simple one here. Not my least favorite, but the most simple. Whenever I play this, the companion Lindsay, she's a bard. I always give her martial proficiency and then just make her an Eldritch Knight with giving her good ranged combat skills. After a certain point, I end up doing that. She becomes a deadly damage dealer that way with some like passive buffs in the background, which I think is really nifty. And I think that because bards are so passive, they make effective damage dealers on top of buffing, because you can do both with ease, and I really like that. So that's what I usually do for Eldritch Knight, not much else. So take that recommendation, or come up with your own thing. I like to hear what you come up with. If you want to put in the comments and give me your recommendations or the cool combinations you've come up with, that'd be really cool to see. But yeah, this is, if you're a new or experienced player, thanks for checking out my video and all my other videos. Hit the subscribe button to keep an eye out for more content or the Let's Play content that's coming or anything like that. I think it'd be really cool to have you around and see what's coming up next. I will be doing other games in the future as well. So if there's any other games that you guys would really like to see, I think that'd be cool to put down in the comments too. I like recommendations. I have a lot of RPGs and CRPGs, so maybe I already have the one that you want to see. So I think that'd be interesting, but we will be doing Wrath of Righteous after this. Yeah, I'm UnsungNPC. Thanks for watching my video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.